Welcome to the High Fae Housewives podcast. I'm Blakely.
And I'm Kylie.
We are currently working towards our Maasters in the Maasverse. Our current course is focused on A Court of Wings and Ruin. Today we're covering our final part of our 3-part coverage, chapters 55 through 82. You can expect a spoiler-free summary at the top of the episode, and then we'll break it all down with our theories and connect it to the rest of the Maasverse.
We will have spoilers for Throne of Glass and all the Crescent Cities as we tie things in. And warning, while we may be your silly gal pals, we don't recommend listening to this podcast for little ears or ears that may be offended because we say bad words and shitty things. Now relax those shoulders, unclench those jaws, clench those clams, and let's get into it.
Chapters 55 through 82. War is definitely here, and luckily Jurian was aligned with his Hybern intel. The battle was tough. Cass is an animal, and Rhys and Feyre had stinky battle camp sex. Shit got bad at the next battle, so she duped more into thinking she was needed on the battlefield. She had Elain find the Suriel, and then she skedaddled to the middle to have a kiki with our favorite tea spiller. The Suriel told her what she needed. Ianthe and the Hybern showed up and shot the Suriel. Feyre ran and tricked them into the Weaver's cottage, where Ianthe met her death. They ran back to our bestie Boo, who died honorably, and I didn't cry at all. Helion found her and then winnowed them back to the war camp. Cass had been badly injured. Moore was hella fucking pissed that Feyre pulled a fast one on her and lied about her intentions, which turned into a full-on war of words. Amren showed up at the camp with stones and bones so Nesta could scry. Nesta does, but she goes a little too far, and Feyre is able to bring her back, but the Cauldron was very much aware they were there. All of the maid babes woke up in the middle of the night because they could hear the Cauldron calling to them. Something was wrong. They then realized the Cauldron snatched Elain in the middle of the night. Az and Feyre decided they were going to get her back, and to do that, Feyre would be taking on Ianthe's skin suit. They arrive at Hybern's camp and they see children of the blessed get tortured, and Feyre is insistent on bringing her back with them. Jurian immediately noticed who she is and helped them get Elain, but Hybern's hounds figured it out real quick and began chasing. They were able to get everyone they needed out with big help from Tam Tam. And Feyre even was able to fly, but Az's wings took a beating. Amren was able to decipher the Suriel's hint for what they needed to defeat Hybern. Hybern was headed to the human lands to make the Archeron sisters pay, so all the High Lords went in and winnowed as many as the humans they could to target. That night, Feyre saw how exhausted and spent Rhys was, and she knew what she had to do. She was going to get the ouroboros. She did the damn thing with a mirror and then headed to the bone carver, who happily agreed to help because she showed she was worth helping. But it was the final battle time. Braxis and the bone carver were there, and Rhys had some tricks up his sleeve as well. The Weaver of the Wood was also there to fight, but they were still badly outnumbered. While the battle was going, the maid babes headed to the Cauldron, but Hybern had used the Cauldron and took out the bone carver. Miriam and Draken's Legion, Vassa and Lucian, and Papa Archeron, and a fleet of ships showed up ready to fight. Back to the Cauldron, but Hybern was ready for them. Kills the Weaves way too quickly. Feyre puts her hands on the Cauldron like Amren told her, but she pulled a fast one on her, and the Suriel's hint was actually how to unleash Amren from her current form. The Cauldron was showing Feyre a different view of the king and Hybern, 86ing her father, Nesta trying to use her power against him, Cassian hella hurt again, and then Elain coming up behind the king and stabbing him with Truth Teller. Then Nesta finished the job by chopping off his head. Feyre had to be a conduit for Amren, so she changed into her OG form, but the Cauldron broke, which is bad because it's a kill switch for the land. So Rhys had sacrificed himself to repair it, but Feyre begged all the High Lords to bring him back, and they all did, even Tam Tam. Amren also isn't gone forever. She was in the Cauldron, but in High Fae form. So the war is over now, but it's time to start the process of healing. The High Lords and humans will need to start negotiations for a new treaty, and it looks like it's going to be a bumpy ride. They head back to Velaris with their friends. Elain had hope for the future and wants to plant a garden, and Nesta keeping to herself and is totally gonna handle it well. The story ends with Feyre and Rhys flying over Velaris with peace and hope, despite everything they have endured.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank God it's over. No, but really, I mean, kind of thank God it's over because Rhys died and came back, so we don't have to deal with this ever again.
And Cassian sure got fucking beat up.
Yeah.
Just a lot of near-death experiences.
I don't know why David Banner play just started going in my mind when you're talking about Cassian, but
you know, the Cauldron just picks what should be on your soundtrack, and that's one of them.
Yeah. Beat that pussy up, you know?
Yeah.
Let's talk about post-Julian nut clarity.
Let's.
So Mor and Feyre had this conversation after learning Jurian. I wrote Julian, but his name is Jurian.
And I didn't even notice.
I think it's because I turn to Julian for pronunciation so often, even though Julian also does me dirty often. That's the name that was in my head. But I know it's Jurian.
Yeah, because you're not a big King Julian. That's the Madagascar. You're not a big
He doesn't come up
Madagascar.
often. No King Julians here.
No, okay.
Okay, so Mor and Feyre had this conversation after learning Jurian, not to be confused with Julian, is a homie.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much harder, that's what she said, when enemies turn into friends. And the opposite, I suppose. What didn't I see? What did I overlook or dismiss? It always makes me reassess myself more than that. And then Mor tells her it is a joy of life, not war. And I really think that this is something we will have to come back to in book 6. We have to look at what we could have been dismissing on who's good. Is this a sign that Eris is good? Spoiler alert, in my brain, he is. Lucian, is he bad? All these Fox references. And then like Mor telling on herself to Feyre. Like, is this foreshadowing? I think it's all going to come back.
I do think it is a bit of foreshadowing. I'm also so confused with Mor and Jurian and their relationship. The last book, Jurian is like, you were always such a liar, Mor. And then this book is like, we were friends. Why didn't you look? So, of course, I want to know what the fuck did Jurian know Mor was lying about in the past? And if they were friends, why did Mor just refuse to even entertain the idea that he was like good inside still?
Like I said in the last episode, her power is truth. How is this woman such a fucking liar, Camille, if that's her power? It's just
and if she can't sense truth, because like Jurian's truth was here and she didn't sense it, and then also we'll talk in a bit, but like she gets duped by Feyre. You didn't realize she was lying. So what does power of truth actually fucking mean?
Exactly. Also, did Lulu see right through Jurian's bullshit upon meeting him with his like whizzing eye?
Maybe. And it's part of why I think the Cauldron did choose Lulu as Elain's mate so that he wouldn't blow the cover.
That Cauldron, she's just like such
Cauldron
a silly gal.
mother. Yeah.
She's so silly. She's a big siller.
She is such a siller energy for sure.
All right, so it's the first major battle. There's a lot of major battles. It's the first major battle in these chapters. So let's talk about Kyr's darkbringers. Like, who are these soldiers really? Kyr's darkbringers charging on foot, swathed, a little British there, swathed in wisps of night and armed with star bright steel. It's not weird at all. But like, why did they have steel like this? Are these OG Thea army members left here from the rift ceiling after Hell lent their army and they somehow got lost from Hell? The Starbright steel's weird.
Yeah, that is weird.
Darkbringers are weird. They also have ebony armor and can blind soldiers in darkness and rip away shadows. Cassian and Azriel had ebony armor. Why are Cassian, and more so Azriel, giving more Darkbringer energy? Truly, they're like if Illyrians and the Darkbringers had babies. What if they are like somehow Hell's OG armies, like maybe Adis left some here to protect Thea's people? And so these helmets, unlike the smooth domes of the others, Rhys, Azriel, and Cassian wore black helmets whose cheek guards have been fashioned and swept upwards like raven's wings. Like being part of their half Illyrian Darkbringer soldiers vibe isn't a huge stretch if they are demon spawns. Like Rhys's helmet gives definite Hell starborn mate. Winged helmet shown like a dark star in the dimness. Like shadows obviously give Rhys, but it's just like we know our girl Bryce, like she's got a little bit of that shadow in her based on her family.
Right.
Or baby Rune, who's got starlight and shadows. So the Darkbringers are weird.
They are odd. And then just even where we think Az is from, and then what I'm about to get into with Cass again. It's strange. I
I
don't
can't yeah, the Starbright Steel is getting to me.
well, in my thought of our thought, I should say now, that
We're
this
one.
yeah, the Starry created Starborn, and then we add in the hell aspect. It's odd.
It's not it's not wild to think that Adis left some people there because
No, and
I mean he was there with
and
there.
its gates of hell are in the Night Court, or at least one gate or two, I think. I think there's one in Hewn City, and I think the library. It would make sense.
Just adding to our case, truly.
And we'll get back to it, keep adding. Let's talk about Cass. Like I mentioned during our Crescent City House of Flame and Shadow coverage and last week's episode, I believe Cassian is Enalius reincarnate. Now let's just highlight some things said in these chapters. Cassian had been born for this. These fields, this chaos and brutality and calculation. I've never seen anything like it. The skill, the precision, it was like a dance. I must have said it aloud because Moore replied, for him, that's what a battle is, a symphony. I want to talk more about this in a bit in regards to more, but I just want to point out how music and dancing is something that is very prevalent in the Maasverse.
Before you continue on, you know, his skills are like a song and a dance. It's just that's so interesting when him and Feyre, like, you know, go to that symphony and it's a song. And like
Mhm.
everything is a song.
And
Once
I
again.
was just reading a lot of Throne of Glass while prepping for these episodes yesterday, and the amount of song and dance and its relation we're going to continue to talk about, especially in terms of Nesta and Silver Flame. So we will get back to song and dance with Nesta.
We'll get back to this song and dance.
This song and dance. Now, Nesta listened to the low level Illyrian soldiers whispering about how Cassian had thrown that spear, how he'd cut down soldiers like stalks of wheat, how he'd fought like Enalius, their most ancient warrior god and the first of the Illyrians. Now, when they say ancient warrior god, it got me thinking, as I said during CC coverage, I believe Thea was the first Starborn and Prothean, and that was bred and created by the Asteri. Now, Enalius being called an ancient warrior god, it really got me thinking. Rigel told us that he created winged warriors that turned against them. It's made pretty clear he was referring to Illyrians. And Vespi kind of confirmed that, as well as the stories we've heard about Enalius. The things that caught my eye was that the term ancient warrior god. As I told you last week, Enalius in Greek mythology was a god of sorts. Some believe he was Eris. The mythology is kind of murky, but we have a couple of options to think about. Is Enalius called the ancient warrior god because of his lore and his sacrifice and what a great warrior he was? Or was he an ancient warrior god because the Daglin created him, meaning God was literally got that dog in him? Was he the first like Illyrian that was bred, created? I can't help but think Elain calls herself a god because of her power, and I feel like it's a similar vibe.
So do you think that Cassian is going to have a bigger role moving forward, or just him being Nesta? Being Nesta, you know, they are one. Heartache to heartache, they stand.
I don't know by the end of this if Cassian will be alive.
We haven't had any big deaths in these books, and like nothing that truly none.
No, not like it's only been side character things. So I think it's possible, and just like I'll keep reading here, but just there's so many parallels between them. Like, is it a history going to repeat itself, or are they going to break this kind of curse that keeps happening for the greater good and to win? I don't know. But I would not be surprised if Cassian is no longer with us.
Do you think that Sarah Janet's going to give us like a big death? Because if you think about Throne of Glass, like nobody's was.
No, we have Nehemia, we have Gabriel, like
And those are the
the
like hardest hitting.
13 Allegedly.
Okay, but that is like, yeah, allegedly. That is truly a fucking painful one. The most painful death across any franchise, in my opinion.
Lahaba for me.
Yeah. Okay. So, and okay, I was trying to think of in Crescent City, big deaths. Also, Lahaba.
No. We have
Cormac.
allegedly.
They don't have any big deaths. And so do we think that Sarah Janet's going to fuck it up for us?
Maybe.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Sarah Janet kills Cassian. Okay. Cool.
Okay.
That sucks. Nesta? Sorry. Nesta ends up with Eris.
Yeah, I know. That's kind of, I wouldn't be mad at.
Once again, Cassian's cool and all. We love him. But I'm like really into Eris.
I know. Well, you love
Cassian is a blonde in my mind, and Eris is like of the Autumn King bloodline. So of course I'm gonna root for him.
And that's why you're always gonna root for an Autumn King. You like that fire in their blood.
I want to be clear that I'm not rooting for Cassian to die. I just wouldn't be the saddest if Nesta ended up with Eris. Or a white choose.
Please don't unsubscribe from us due to Kylie's opinion.
I just, once again, every theory, you heard it here first. Truly, every single one, because we throw them all out there.
There's another theory, but let's continue. Feyre says the looks the men gave him as Cass passed by, they were the same as those High Lords had given to Rhys upon seeing his power. Like them, and yet other. Capital O. Other. Cass is other because whether he's a descendant of Enalius or if he's reincarnated, unclear, but it's definitely one of them. It's canon for me, for sure. I'm thinking reincarnation, but I mean, it could be the same.
He's got that big O, like he is something.
He's
like
something
having a big O.
Like a capital O, other. A little bit later, Cass gets seriously injured. And what is that injury, you may ask? His guts were hanging out. Last episode, who else did I say his guts were hanging out? Enalius. Same story, different font.
Truly. Earlier, we talked about like the parallels between Cassian holding the line for 3 days and episode 1 of ACOTAR. I talked about how Rhys held the line for 3 days, just like Brienne and Kraken, and how I don't know how to explain it, but they're all connected. Again, though, Rhys said, we march north and we stay. I want to point out that Terrasen was north and is the way that they needed to head. Again, there's just so many parallels within these books. Like, same things, different font every fucking time. But I think it's all relevant, is it?
It's like a different alternate reality. Similar stories keep happening, same-ish bloodlines, but like it's the same in every series.
Hard to agree. I do want to mention that before Feyre heads to the Suriel, there is a moment where red flared in the heart of the battle like an exploding ember. A circle of soldiers die. And I just want to say that I think it's another version of the yielding, just a nod to witchy ways existing.
Speaking of witchy ways, I'm a little excited to read about Elain in ACOTAR 6 and 7.
What?
Yeah, I know. Hold on. We obviously know she's a seer, which is witchy in itself, but the gates to her mind, solid iron, covered in vines of flowers, or it would have been. The blossoms were all sealed, sleeping buds, tucking the tangles of leaves and thorns. Just want to highlight the iron, which is obviously we can make the jump to witch. But the blossoms, while one can make the connection with Feyre being Persephone in some sorts, I think Elain may be a better option here. Persephone was the goddess of spring, rebirth, and the underworld. Now, Elain definitely has that spring trad wife aesthetic. And then the girl loves a garden. And just with Feyre painting her drawer flowers, Persephone's sacred animal was a deer. Suriel calls her a trembling fawn, and the Book of Breathings makes the same claim. Interesting to see what powers Elain shows us.
The connection to Persephone is interesting because that would make you think that she does end up with Azriel.
I'm not against it. I'm really not. I want Lulu happy, but I'm not necessarily. What if Lulu ends up with Vassa?
That was what I was going to say. I'm like, cool with that. Him, Jurian, Vassa.
It's like that the mating bond was put there to push the story along, and so Lulu comes to their side. And then once Elain rejects it, because obviously shit is weird with Elain and S.
I don't think that SJM would have told us about like being able to reject the bond if we weren't potentially going to see it someday, because we've yet to see anybody reject a bond.
And she's the only one. That's the one in limbo right now. So
maybe she ends up with no one. Maybe Azriel just fingers her and the story's done.
sorry, I hate that in my mind. I was like a blue finger blast because of his power, and I don't know why.
It would be heavenly.
Otherworldly.
Truly.
Mm-hmm.
The most otherworldly, wordly too. New word.
So like finger blast will like shadows come out.
The shadows are helpers.
Ooh, yeah.
Good
Good
for
for-
Elain. I hope it's the best finger banging she's ever had. So speaking of finger banging, let's talk about Suriel.
Yeah, those bony fingers. Totally.
That sounds terrible.
Yeah.
Wouldn't recommend that one, you know?
No.
When Feyre had Elain find the Suriel, she said it moves through the world like the breath of the western wind. And there has been mention of a western wind before. In chapter 42 of Empire of Storms, Manon says she sometimes dreams of flying over a lush green land, the song of a western wind singing her home. When Rune was supposed to show up, meet the Hind, and the Harpy showed up in the house of Sky and Breath, it said a dark-haired, pale-faced female, Malachi, grinned with wicked amusement. She was narrow-featured, black-winged, with a wildness like the western wind. Okay, so the western wind is wild and sings to a Valg-made being, and the Suriel moves through the world like a breath of the western wind. And upon my research, we have to come back to this in Silver Flame. But it makes me wonder what sort of elemental being is associated with these 3 books so far. Elemental, not just gods, because elementals matter.
They do. There was a war.
There was, and we don't nothing about it.
Not one thing.
Just that it happened.
Mm-hmm.
The Suriel also had no eyelids, but its milky eyes flared with surprise. I cannot see, not him. He is not born of this earth. His thread has not been woven in. Its twisted mouth tightened. You wish to save Prithian so much that you would risk unleashing him. What does this mean? Like the bone carver's sister, Strega, who's the weaver. If she is not weaving the lives of Prithian, who is the one who weaves the threads of Prithian? And what is the weaver weaving? Say that 3 times fast.
I don't know. Like, now that she's gone, I've thought about that. Like, yeah, who's weaving?
Who weaves the fates of the world? Because they talk about the fates. They talk about, it threads not being woven in. Who's doing that weaving?
It's definitely something we're going to come back to.
Yeah, I don't think it's the weaver weaving weaves.
You don't think the big weave is the weaving?
Not for Prithian. I think we've talked about it before. Yeah, offline. Potentially she could be weaving worlds, other worlds, fate, but she's dead now. So what happens?
Yeah, weaver mythology. Yeah, does somebody take it up after her? Like, if
who takes up the mantle?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Bryaxis. She needs to get employed, and now she's gonna have her own home, and she'll have windows. She'll get some winders.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about tapestry and.
Yes, I'm excited. I don't know why I just clapped, but I'm excited to talk about tapestry.
I am excited to talk about it as well.
I also want to point out that we do know that there is more than one Suriel. I don't know your name. I whispered the Suriel. It was a title, a name for its kind. She says it's kind. So could she theoretically lure another one?
Maybe, but he might not be a dreamer.
Yeah, she might not get a cool Suriel. She might get a fucking uncool one that travels on the eastern wind.
And he doesn't want to spill tea. Like, that would be a loser Suriel. I'm not interested in that.
Or he doesn't have good teeth.
Well, this one's got like buck-ass teeth.
I said tea, not teeth.
Oh. I'm like, Liam's got teeth, but all
This one's got
right.
some gnarly teeth, but yeah,
I know
maybe
you
the next
really
one will have
care
better.
about teeth. So
The next one went to the orthodontist for sure. He's
The
had
next one-
headgear just like me.
the next one could be Caltane. This one, not.
No, I guess a Suriel could, in theory, still be Caltane, but I don't think we met that one.
Due to the teeth.
Yes, totally the T.
Mhm.
Not to be confused with T or teats.
Yeah. Two different things.
3. T,
Oh.
teeth, and teat.
True. 3. Speaking about the number 3, we've talked about the number 3 in the Maasters and its significance. And the Suriel even points out this was the 3rd time that she has sought him out. He actually said thrice to be exact, which I liked. But once again, that number 3 that you just brought up.
What is this?
Number 3. I got nervous when I did this for people that are just listening that I put a number 4 up instead of 3, but I did do 3. The Suriel also tells Feyre, stay with him and live to see everything righted. And I know it's implied that that was at the end of this book, but I don't think it was. I really do think the line about all the ancient players coming back into play was not a throwaway line, and the stay with him are all connected.
No notes.
3.
We'll bring up 3 again the next episode because it broke my brain and I stopped writing.
That'll happen.
Before we get into witches, I just want to mention this about Nesta. When Feyre looks into Nesta's mental gates, it says, and inside dark like I had never known, even with Rhysand. And I'm so excited because, like, how can Nesta have darker dark than Mr. Night Court himself?
I know, and I'm excited to see at the end of Silver Flame, maybe in next book, what her mental shields, or do they look the same?
Oh, yeah. Like,
Due to, yeah.
Does she redecorate her shields?
Yeah, or
Remodel.
But like specifically they said they belong to an ancient fortress, sharp and brutal. The sort I imagine they once impaled people upon, and I just like that. It's delicious. I can't wait for Nesta chapters. Speaking of witches, we get some nods to them in these chapters. When Amren came to the war camp with supplies to scry, she says 3 stones, 3 for the faces of the mother. Amren said upon seeing Nesta's twisted brow, 4 bones, for whatever reason the charlatan came up with, and I can't be bothered to remember. When was the other time we talked about charlatans? In a court of thorns and roses, after Feyre is done hunting, she gets back to her hovel and says, revealing the faded ward markings etched around the threshold, my father had once convinced a passing charlatan to trade the engravings against fairy harm in exchange for one of his wood carvings. The man claimed to have some high fae blood ancestry, and they carved the whirls and swirls and runes around the door in windows, muttered a few nonsense words, and ambled on his way. Now, I'm not necessarily saying it was a male witch or sorcerer, but I think there's something there. And I've claimed before, I believe that this was something that their mother told the dad to do. Like she told Feyre to take care of the family. I think everyone had certain things, probably not Elain, because, working with what you have.
I think that there was oaths made because oaths are important and words are very important to them. And so when she had Feyre promise to take care of them, Feyre made that oath and that commitment. And so she did something the same with Daddy Archeron. I cannot call him Daddy Archeron. It's Papa. Woof.
It's Papa. It's not a daddy.
He's not Mr. Thought of.
He's not a zaddy. He's not a daddy.
He's not hot. Everybody's hot in these stories. No, they're not. Most people are hot in these stories, but Papa Archeron's not. He looks like a dad to me in my mind. And don't get me wrong, I love a good dad, but he's not a hot dad.
Important distinction.
I love a good daddy, not a dad. I love my dad. Not like that.
Oh my God, I'm just going to keep talking because that
went south.
Quickly.
Not north.
Nope. Now, Feyre also rescues a Children of the Blessed. And what is her name? Briar. We have heard of that name before. Briar was in Throne of Glass. She was one of the 13. Her cousin was Etta. Two cousins that were as close as sisters, had been trained since infancy to blend into any sliver of darkness and listen. Now, both Briars have black hair and green eyes. And with Kai's theory about how the 13 yielded, and the mother actually sent them to a different realm for the sacrifice, it could make sense. She's not big on reusing names. Sarah isn't. So
exactly.
they're scattered around the Maasverse. The 13 are. We just have to find them.
Maybe we'll get another like novella later on about them reuniting, and it'll
like
fucking beautiful.
Can you imagine? No, this is what happened. Instead of Rebecca is saying that she's writing 13 POVs for Threshing, she's actually taking on the 13 and is writing Sarah J. Maas's story of the novella of the witches. It's the only thing that makes sense.
You're right. They teamed up. They're like, let's be a superpower.
They're like, let's break the internet. Let's do it.
I think that would break the internet.
Oh, that would. A collab between those two. But then we also have another huge witch situation. What does Rhys called Miriam? Tell that witch it goes both ways. Is Miriam a witch?
She's got to have some witchy ways in her. Like, they don't use that word lightly.
It was so specific. And just with the fact that Moore was the one in our last episode that explained what a witch was to Nesta, like she knew very quickly. I mean, we know why, but also her dear friend, Miriam, also.
Imagine if we're all just so fucking wrong. Moore is actually part human, mostly human. She has no power at all. They just scare people by telling people that.
No. But I am confused about her fucking powers, but we'll talk about it.
Yeah, more. We'll definitely break down more, not her emotionally, but just like her shit in the next book.
Yeah. A lot of Frost and Starlight, more talk.
Yeah.
Don't skip that episode, guys. There are a lot of theories in there. I know it's a Christmas novella, but no, we're saving a lot for that episode. Thanks so much.
There's just a lot of little nuggets that you skip over, but we'll get into it. For now, we're going to talk about Tamlin and his wind. Tamlin breaking wind. Because we have
Tamlin the shooter. Sorry.
We have to give Tammy credit where it's due. A wind of spring lifting me, filling my wings, helping Feyre escape Mr. Hybern is a solid. But I do want to point out what Feyre noticed. He leaped far, far and wide, farther than any beast or fae should be able to. That wind he'd sent my way, now bolstering him, guiding him toward the hole we'd swept through. And that wind he'd sent, I'd never seen him use such a power. With pointing out everything I did in the last episode, has Tamlin been dampening his power this whole time?
I definitely think he has been. And I don't think he's as powerful as Rhys. But if we look at all, not even close, but if we look at their courts and what we suspect about the Spring Court and it having some maybe extra Asteri power there, and it's magic regenerating, it makes sense to me that he might be more powerful than, well, I don't know. I think Elain's pretty powerful too. I think that they are all dampening their powers and are not honest about it, to be fair. But what if he was God touched in that moment and wind, like extra wind, was gifted to him by a god?
The three-faced goddess was like, thanks for helping my kin out. Here is a little wind.
Yeah, something.
I think it's more than that, though. I don't think it's the god touch. I think Tamlin's dampening his power.
Yeah, I think he's probably number 2 for powerful, for High Lords.
Well, in the words of Nellie, I am number 1. 2 is not a winner. 3 nobody remembers, and nobody wants to be number 2. 2 is not a winner. He's number 2 to Feyre. No, he's not.
Speaking about number 2, Rhys is number 2 more. Let's talk about it.
But she's number 3.
Oh, shit. Can I tell you, in my head, I was like, his number 1 is Amryn. Number 2 is Moore. So
it's his personal. I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah. That's how the connection was in my head, but
The confidence in which you said it, though, I really respect because you're like, his number
yeah.
3. Or
I
his
was
number
like,
2.
wow, perfect fucking transition.
What a beautiful moment. And
It
it was.
still was in my head. So I brought it up earlier, but when Feyre saying to Cass was born for this, it was like a dance. She says, I must have said it aloud because Moore replied, for him, that's what battle is, a symphony. Now, it may just be pattern recognition from other fantasy books, wink, wink, but I can't help but think Moore may be Demati, and we don't know it.
Ooh, possible. That's like, she's got so many things similar to Rhys. And we know that they're loosely related, but how?
And like, where does the cousin really come from? I just feel like that would be something to keep under wraps. And she'd be careful. She wouldn't try to look into Rhys's mind because he would know. But like, if she could do little bits here, I don't think Feyre said that out loud.
Why wouldn't somebody whose power is truth be fucking Demati? So
Right.
you can suss out the truth.
And she's got dark power. So what do we know about dark power? They usually are Demati.
We don't know anything about her powers, so... And obviously truth is a little, like, wonky as it is.
Well, and Feyre said, I think 2 different times, her alleged power. Or it's like, it's odd. Because she's never
Feyre
seen.
doesn't know either. And she's like, had sleepovers with this gal.
Yeah, like, what does it even mean? I don't know. I just think she's Demati.
I can get behind that, for sure. For sure. I hope we find out.
Me too.
After Feyre sneaks off to see the Suriel, Moore's pissed, rightfully so, and she then says, no more lies between us. And Feyre never agreed to that, so Moore has no need to honor no more lies between them. If we are playing the Moore's bad side, all Moore promised is to the mother that she would tell Feyre her secret about being a lesbian, and she did that, and now there is no honesty oath. So now she's free to lie to her.
Which, if truth is someone's power, and they're High Fae, which we know are all shifty motherfuckers, Moore would know how to get around these types of things with phrasing.
Why say no more lies between us? Like, Moore, when were you lying? No more lies between us? When were you lying, Miss Truth herself?
A whole fucking lie. I'd like this a lie, but because there's more, and I'm not just talking about the lesbian thing. There's so much more. To be clear, I'm not just talking about being closeted. No, don't trust her. Okay, so when Moore is coming out to Feyre, she talked about how she tried for 3 years to see her human queen lover. And by the time she managed to get a hole across, she was married. So the question is, how did that hole get there? Was Moore what the incest twins were talking about? This exact spot exists because a person or object of mighty power passed through it?
You know what story this is parallels to?
What?
What's her Astrid and her lover in the woods and like going to see him. The parallels again. Same story,
way,
different font.
people do think Astrid Moore is Astrid's baby.
I don't think so.
No, I don't either, but
I think that there maybe could be a genetic tie-in, but I don't think that there's a reincarnation situation there or anything.
No, if Moore is reincarnated, it's not Astrid. We're going to talk about someone bigger that we've talked about before. It's definitely not Astrid.
Yeah, I would.
If anything, I feel like it'd be more likely Mama Archer, like that, less powerful, but not. I'm not even on board with that, but I'm just saying, not Moore. Moore's not Astrid.
No, I agree. We know Moore's family owns the ouroboros. So when Feyre went to go see it, when Feyre went to go get it, there against the far wall of the chamber, snow crusting its surface, its bronze casing. I just want to point out that Mort was bronze. Is this Mort reborn? Maybe he's actually besties with the Carver and they want to gossip together, and that's why the Carver wants her to grab the ouroboros. Not for the mental prep.
And like Feyre just didn't mention while looking into it that the ouroboros had like a Brooklyn accent.
Yes. I just, you know what? I miss Mort. Bring Mort back. We brought We talked about Mort the last episode. We're talking about Mort again. Give
I
me
think
Mort.
I think more will come back, actually.
I fucking hope so. That would be the wildest revisit of none of the other characters. Mort.
I like giggle and like my feet would go like this. I'd be so excited all of a sudden reading about fucking Mort.
You would be an angel flying. Your feet would be flapping. You'd be so happy.
I do have dreams about that a lot.
Tippy taps.
Mm-hmm. Real tippy tapper. Basically a Fred Astaire. Go ahead.
So Feyre has to come face to face with her beast, and I really cannot stop thinking about the mirror Elain and Manon entered. I mentioned in our first episode of A Court in Wings and Ruin that in chapter 65 of Empire of Storms, when Elain and Manon look into the witch mirror, an iron-bound mirror, the surface near golden with age, speckled and covered in grun, and along with the twining intricate carved border tucked in the upper right corner was the Eye of Elena. It's mentioned that it has an intricate carved border. The border's not described. Could this be the same mirror? Elain asked if she had stopped, or if time had stopped inside the mirror. Feyre said, I did not know how long had passed. Time. It had been different inside the mirror, so time is different, which we could have guessed because they are both witch mirrors of a sort. Who's to say it is the same mirror or it's not? I have a feeling it is, though. If not, it's Mort. Or they're all one. Part of Mort's essence was put into that other witch mirror, and Mort doesn't know about it. Mort has a baby.
So he goes from a doorknob to a mirror?
Door knocker. How dare you? I think, okay, but the mirror is either the same mirror or it's Mort. One or the other. It's my vote on the ouroboros.
I would go more with the same mirror or mirror of the same vein, essentially. It's possible, for sure.
So you're not on board with it potentially being Mort recasted?
No. Because I'm hoping that Mort shows up separately.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the mirror starts talking to Feyre later. She gets a little lonely.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Have you noticed so often Feyre doesn't actually ask questions to Rhys, and he is always answering them? Like her thing about Amren's Illyrian leathers being made for a child, and Rhys was like, don't tell her, but they were. Like, I know he can enter her mind and think her thoughts, but like, he's pretty good about, respecting her space.
Yeah, I have noticed. And I think, like I said, pattern recognition from other books, other series makes you like very aware of this situation. But just what we know with mates and how there's like a bridge, and sometimes he told us like you're shouting down the bond. I think he's definitely more susceptible to pick up her thoughts, and maybe she lets him in more than others. But I think his powers, he can do a lot. I don't even think he maybe even means to half the time. I don't even think because he says it's like he does try to respect people's privacy for things. He's so powerful that he just fucking can hear shit.
With you just pointing that out about Mort, that's why I think it's like really relevant. It's interesting. Like, okay, what in their bloodline allows them obviously some sort of dark power, but what dark power? Fucking, I need a family tree and a map.
I have a lot of questions about Rhys.
Do you?
Mm-hmm. Like, we think he's a hell baby. He's giving Maeve, and we just know that Maeve was able to had seer type qualities, was able to see the future and such. Can Rhys do that?
Do we think that Rhys is Maeve reincarnated?
No, but I think it could be a definitely descendant of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Fucking Rhys. When they were discussing whether they should go rescue the humans from Hybern, Rhys says, of course, they're going to. He says, it's a new world, and we must decide how we're going to end this one and begin anew. Reminder, Ragnarok in Scandinavian mythology, the end of world of gods and men. Ragnarok is a series of events and catastrophes that will ultimately culminate in a final battle between the gods and the demons and the giants, ending the death of gods. The world is then reborn. Also, ouroboros. The ouroboros is often interpreted as a symbol for the eternal cyclical renewal or cycle of life, death, and rebirth. The snakeskin sloughing through symbolizes the transmigration of souls. So I just this starting anew feels like it just keeps happening in these worlds too. Like, is it just a constant cycle, but one that will finally end when the gods have their final
Big battle.
big battle, the big B.
Twilight of the Gods.
Ragnarok. Yeah.
I hope we do get it and we weren't wrong about this. Because it just, so much is adding up to it.
Yeah. And like, I just feel like that's happening in the background and we just haven't had the story being told, but it's still happening. It's just a part of the Maasverse now.
Yes.
It just makes sense for all the other stories too, that is what's happening in the background. Why do you think that Rhys has this like intrinsic need for self-sacrifice? Farah had already tried to ask him what it was about, and then she mentioned again when watching him being exhausted after winnowing all the humans out. Do you think there's some sort of prophecy? Or like the princes of hell told him it would all come down to him? Like, what do you think it is with him?
It's almost like he's trying to atone for something, like past sins of his family or something, or just the need to prove that he is good. Like, I
Good.
am good.
Yeah, he chooses to be good, even with all that power. So it's like he'll take it on because he knows he's the most powerful too. Like, I just feel like there's something else there.
Like, maybe he doesn't want to be nameless is his price, and he wants to be remembered as somebody who made a difference.
Right? Because he said when stories is, I'm going to be the one that stole you away or whatever. And she's like, no, Rhys, you're good. Da, da, da. That was in Court of Mist and Fury, I think. But yeah.
In every one of SJM's book, the theme is always like, leave the world better than you like found it. And so like maybe this is Rhys really trying to live by that.
And like, exactly. She does do this as well as like kindness is such a thing. Like one person can change the world. And just by one act of kindness, we see it time and time again in the Maasverse. And yeah, Rhys is just the living embodiment of that. So all the Rhys haters, he saved all these humans. It was him that said that we should go do this. Like it doesn't make sense when people hate on him.
I don't get it. He's a great guy. Good guy.
Yeah, he chooses to be great.
Exactly. I mean, I think he was born great too. I think like he does have to actively make a choice sometimes, but he's a good guy.
Makes him more.
When Rhys is giving his motivation pre-war speech, it says, Rhys pushed his shoulders back, elegantly folding his wings behind him. I believe everything happens for a reason, whether it is decided by the mother or the cauldron or some sort of tapestry of fate. I don't know. I don't really care, but I'm grateful for it, whatever it is. What if the jacket I'm so obsessed with has something to do with being weaved by someone who controls fate? We will have to get into it more in Frost and Starlight, but there's some threads mentioned in Throne of Glass that are weird. Just think about void fabric. I do think it's interesting he threw in some sort of tapestry of fate here. Sisterhood of the Traveling Jacket. Whoever wears it is the Night Court King.
Fuck off, Morty. But yes. Threads, tapestries, fate with a capital F. Lots to talk about.
Yeah, I wonder who is weaving fate. Once again, with the Weaver dead, who does control fate, especially when he says something like this?
Yeah, we'll talk about Rhys's mom next step.
There's also some choice words. If I had not met my cousin, I would have never learned that light can be found in even the darkest of hells, that kindness can thrive even amongst cruelty. The darkest of hells, you say? And also that light can be found in the darkest of hells. I just think that is so choice. Mm-hmm. Knowing with our Starborn genetics, not ours personally, but theirs.
And that seems like such a theme throughout the Maasverse books, which we'll talk about. The dark and that sliver of hope, that starlight.
Yeah. In the darkest of hells. It just sounds like a pit.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to, speaking of hell, I want to bring up our comparison of Rhys to the Hellboys, as we mentioned in chapters 89 through 92 of Crescent City, House of Flame and Shadow. I said I think he is a descendant, but not a brother necessarily. When time was slowing, Hunt had his helmet on, and we got this. With the helmet, Hunt could truly see everything, the particles of dust drifting by, the droplets of Polaris' blood rising up like a red rain, as Rhys shoved her blades deeper. The demon princes were turning towards them. Their Asteri opponents with them. Gone were the princes' humanoid skins. Creatures of darkness and decay stood there, mouths full of sharp teeth, leathery wings splayed. A great black mass lay within Apollyon's yawning mouth as he searched for Octardis, and we get the prince's true form. I know we go back and forth on if Rhys is a demon test tube baby or potentially a prince of hell. I think it's the former because his true form doesn't match the prince's. But then again, we haven't seen Rhys's true form necessarily. Like, does he shapeshift that too?
Yeah, is he dampening what Feyre sees?
Yes, is he dampening what? Because, like, we know he's a big dampening guy.
Yeah, he's really into it.
Just, does he have his form look different so he doesn't look like the prince of hell?
Yeah, does he transform so like that's what the other Night Court High Lords looked like, but his is different, but he doesn't let it see what other people see?
Yeah, like, what is he hiding from us?
Wow.
Because in chapter 74 of ACOTAR, Feyre describes Rhys like this. The talons came first, replacing fingers and feet. Then scales, or perhaps feathers, I couldn't get a look at them, covered his legs, his arms, his chest. His body contorted, bones and muscles growing and shifting. The beast form Rhys had kept hidden, never liked to unleash, unless it was dire enough to do so. She had beheld what happened in his head, his face. It was a thing of nightmares, nothing human or fey in it. It was a creature that lived in black pits and only emerged at night to hunt and feast. The face, it was those creatures that had been carved into the rock of the Court of Nightmares that made up his throne. The throne, not only a representation of his power, but what lurked within and with the wings. And so we get the description of the gates of the hewn city in chapter 42 of A Court of Mist and Fury. Great scale black beast were carved into those gates, all coiled together in a nest of claws and fangs, sleeping and fighting, some locked in an endless cycle, ouroboros, of devouring each other. Between them flowed vines of jasmine and moonflowers. I could have sworn the beasts seemed to writhe in silvery glow of the bobbing daylights throughout the mountain city. So definitely a demon test tube baby because he doesn't match the Prince of Hell in raw form, but who's to say that he's not altering that as well?
Yeah, because we do know that the High Lords all have that beast underneath them, which I
Right.
think is interesting. Why? Why
Yeah.
do all the High Lords have that? Is it because they have so much magic? Like, I just think that's weird.
Is that their original form?
Right when they have talked about back, yeah, it's weird.
And then they learned to shift into humans?
Mm-hmm.
What if humans didn't exist? Well, like, yeah, what if humans didn't exist wherever they're from, and then they learned to shapeshift in humans because the Asteri brought them or whatever, or they brought them to a human world? Who knows? Rhys is weird.
Yes. And I do want to mention, I've said it before, about Maeve's castle was decorated like the night sky. There were just gathering pools freckled with night blooming lilies, jasmine wove around the massive columns, just pointing out the connection to Queen of Hell, perhaps, and its association with the Night Court, because she decorated that castle to her liking and her taste.
And why would those be her liking and her taste?
Mm-hmm. I saw jasmine and like the moonflowers when you wrote that, and I was like,
I always think about Jasmine and its
too.
locations.
Well, I think about jasmine because we know like Elain smells like jasmine. Like there's a lot of jasmine, but I was just like,
I could
didn't-
not tell you what Jasmine actually smells like in this current moment. I don't know if I like the smell of it.
I don't know. I felt like that was a big Bath and Body Works smell in the 90s, but
It
I
was-
don't know.
It was up there with cucumber melon and all of that.
I feel like jasmine sometimes like is paired with like an what's that, like an amber musk type
Yeah,
thing.
it's like a heavier scent.
Yeah.
In case you guys are wondering.
I just wanted to point out Maybe Baby with Hell and Rhys. Just feels similar.
Just a little.
So, Feyre was used as a conduit twice. And we have a friend in Crescent City world that is also a conduit. And I keep thinking about what Apollyon said in the House of Sky and Breath. Both of you would benefit from training. Your powers are more similar than you realize. Conduits, both of you. You have no idea how valuable you and others like you are. I don't believe this is the last of what we will see. And when it comes with our favorite Maasverse friends being conduits, it also makes you wonder who they will need to use this power against. Is Steri coming back? Are they really dead? Princess of Hell? I have questions.
I think about Apollyon saying that all the time. Like, you have no idea how valuable you and others like you are. That has stuck with me since Crescent City. And I still want to know who specifically he means by others like you are.
I know, because is it just conduits you're talking about? Is it because you're kind of made and bred?
I think it's made. I don't think it's the conduits. I think I think that others were made in the same way across the universe, and some of them don't work out because they don't train.
Threats are made beings naturally conduits. So it would go hand in hand.
Yeah, I would say like those go hand in hand. So maybe he is referencing Nesta or others. Cauldron made. But I think about that line fucking too much.
Yeah, just the conduits. I don't know. Let's talk about wolf watch time. Feyre is called a wolf not once, but twice. When she brought Ianthe to the Weaver, the Weaver said, "Who did you bring, little wolf? Who did you bring me?" And then later, Rhys calls her a wolf. Before she goes to rescue Elain, remember that you are a wolf and you cannot be caged. Wolves in the damn Maasverse.
We just personally offline we're talking about wolves again. Like, you know, their relevance is weird, and it almost seems like they are constantly like Asteri pets. Like, think about the fact that in book 1, who was sent to get killed? It was Andres, who was a fucking wolf. Where does he hail from? The Spring Court. Who do we think the Spring Court is fucking tight with initially? The Asteri Daglin. And so it's just almost like all wolves are like Daglin homies. Daglin Asteri Balg.
And wolves were a big part of Ragnarok because of Loki. That was one of his children. So it's like, you don't know?
Let's further that because Maeve had 2 wolves as her pets, and she's Balg. And then think about the Asteri in Crescent City. They talked about how the wolves were their protectors. Well, like were their actually slaves at first. So it's like, why did they create the wolf shifters and then place them throughout? Like, that's such a stretch. But like, why are wolves so close with Asteri Daglin?
And then, yeah, and even Luna, she had the wolves on her. Like, they're everywhere in every story.
Maybe they were like God's pets. And then the Asteri fucking made those, corrupted those bad boys too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Tog, also shout out to Rhys saying, "You do not fear, you do not falter, you do not yield." I just love a Tog throwback, which makes you wonder, where did he get this wisdom for such a saying? Alternate realities?
It's all otherworldly being gossip. They all chit chat with each other.
Truly.
Like Bryaxis. I bet you Bryaxis is a gossiper.
Yeah.
Feyre said this about Bryaxis after she was unleashed. Bryaxis remained within the darkness rolling around it, the living tapestry it would use to reveal the nightmares of its victim. It's given hidden weaver of fate somehow. Maybe Bryaxis is the weaver of fate in another world, or their deaths in another world. She weaves their deaths. Who fucking knows at this point, because Bryaxis is missing.
That gate of hell is just open, ready, not being guarded. Just saying. We don't even know if it's a gate of hell, but I just say it is.
It's a gate of somehow, because we both agree that temples, maybe not all, but a good portion of temples are word gates of some sort.
It just feels with all the references to that specific library, abyss, chasm, a cat on the 5th level, which is totally normal. Hell's down there.
And once again, why does a library need a priestess in any world?
Yeah, I don't know. So I do want to just say about the bone carver. He smiled at Feyre right before he died, and I almost think like he knew that he was going home. Like he did. Yeah, like he just wanted to go home.
I bet you he did carve his death already.
Yeah, I think so too, and they could probably find it.
Mm-hmm. Because he was ready, spaghetti. He's like, I'm fucking over this. He's like, there's too much
Yeah, I think
fighting.
he was content staying there, and that was like his home for a long time. But I think he knew he was needed for whatever this Ragnarok war situation is happening, and he was like, "It's my time to go."
He made
This is
the
my,
choice to go out good.
and he did. It was a choice.
Valg moment. Speaking of unsure if this person is Valg or not, I want to talk about the Weaves. Once again, mad respect for her. She told Mr. Hybern that he could bow, aka get on his knees for her hot body. Then he just snaps her neck and throws her to the Naga Hounds. Either the king of Hybern is strong as fuck, or she didn't really die because that was too easy. I know some people think that she's not dead, but I do. Bloodlines are weakening across all worlds. The death god, whose government name is Striga, was torn apart by the Naga bloodhounds. Even Amryn let out a little noise of shock, and that bitch has seen everything. So I do think she's like dead, but I do have respect for her telling somebody to get on their knees.
You may bow as it was once done is going to haunt me. Because, like, if she was, I mean, we know she was a queen,
Right.
potentially a dark queen. How old is Hybern? Like, they were both coming up together in the king and queen world. Like,
Maybe she's his ex, and
maybe.
he's a little mad she left.
We love a messy history.
Yeah, you know what? That's it's now canon for me. Big Weaves and Mr. Hybern used to diddle at one point.
Into it.
Not into it enough to like want a story of it, but
No, please no novella on that.
I don't want fanfic of that. Gross. But the Weaves was hot at one point, and so was Mr. Hybern. That's why they both that's why Mr. Hybern's like such a prick. She left him and his heart is shattered. She left him to go live on Prithian. The fucking audacity. And so he's like, I'm mad.
Yeah, we know he's petty, so that makes sense.
Yeah. Figured it out, like why he's such a grump. Speaking of grumpy things, let's talk about the Cauldron and her dark history.
Yeah, let's.
This spooky bitch, her darkness that devoured the light, the Cauldron. Now that we are here and Feyre breaks it, let's talk about what we learned in Crescent City about the Cauldron. I've talked about this tainted thing and how it doesn't make sense that something that creates beautiful fae and life is such a little asshole. So, what these characters don't know is the Daglin, whose government name is Asteri. The Daglin captured it and used their powers to warp it, to turn it from what it had been into something deadlier, no longer just a tool of creation, but of destruction. And the horrors it produced, those two, my parents would turn to their advantage. Another shift of memory, and Fionn pulled a long blade from the cauldron, dripping water, a black blade whose dark metal absorbed any trace of light around it. Bryce's knees weakened, the Star Sword. That was Silene's story. Now, Vesperus told us, good old Vespi, once we left our homeworld, our powers began to dim. Too late, we realized that we had been dependent on our land's inherent magic. The magic in those worlds was not potent enough, yet we could not find the way back home. Those of us who ventured here found ways to amplify that power, thanks to the gifts of the land. We pooled our power and imbued those gifts into the cauldron so that would work at our will. We made the trove from it, and then bound the very essence of the cauldron to the soul of this world. Vespi is really aiming for a little sympathy. So that is why the cauldron starts destroying the planet. So that is the cauldron story. And now we can actually talk about that. It is officially tied. It is a kill switch for the world. We had to wait
Yes.
this book to say it. Even though,
Yeah.
But Vesperus said, I raised her from childhood not to, about Thea not having mercy, which is weird that an Asteri raised a queen. Isn't it, though?
Not if you were her mistress and created her, but
Exactly. So just to further your point along, like, I think it's weird that she said that she raised Thea. Like, who are Thea's parents? We don't fucking know.
I think Asteri are her parents.
Agreed. But like in the story, we don't know that.
Yeah. But I mean, I also, this is not a part of this, but I can't stop thinking about Fionn in general. Like, why did they have to keep their relationship under wraps, Thea and Fionn? Like, it would have been frowned upon. Who the fuck are you, Fionn? What are you?
I love that you're doing the sign language motion for more because we all want more.
I want more. I want more of this.
But back to our kill switch cauldron. It was
fine.
described as the thing in the cauldron so when it was destroyed, it was described as the thing in the cauldron or lack of it. It was lack and substance, absence and presence, and it was leaking into the world. I dare to step toward it, and what I beheld in those ruins of the cauldron, it was a void, but also not a void, a growth. We followed the line of his finger to where the fissure in the world within the shards of the cauldron. It was growing. The cauldron could never be destroyed. We had been warned, but because our very world was bound to it. So Rhys gives all to remake the cauldron. So what happened to the essence of the Asteri that was bound to the cauldron? Their power, their gifts. Is that shattered and spilled and gone? Or does the breaker, who was Feyre, absorb it and somehow as she was the conduit? Or does Rhys absorb the Asteri power in his recreating and giving to the cauldron? Like, what happened to that essence that they put in there?
I think that's an excellent question. He was real quick to say, I don't have any of your powers to the other High Lords, but he didn't say he didn't have some of the Cauldron's power. Now, people think that Rhys has a shift in personality in A Court of Silver Flames. I think that's just Nesta doesn't like him. But it's something to explore. If the reason he isn't quite the same is because he absorbed some Daglin powers.
Once again, I don't think I would have thought about that had we not read Crescent City right before this. But like, what happens when something is bound into it? Where does that essence go? All questions we don't have answers to.
No.
Just to point out, it said, behind me, Rhys's power was a tether, an unending lightning strike that surged from me into this place to be shaped as I willed it. And once again, that lightning reference is giving hell adjacent.
Especially because Rhys isn't like known for lightning. We've only got a couple like little mentions that are so like throwaway lines almost. Like it's just not talked about and it's moved on. Like he's such a little fucking hell baby.
Once again, had we not read Crescent City, I wouldn't have given a shit about these lightning references. But now, knowing Hunt, there's so many, and it's all between Rhys and Amren. And it's weird.
It is weird. I have a quick question. Why did the cauldron purr in Elain's presence?
Because the cauldron is a pretty kitty.
Don't think that's why. Obviously it doesn't like Nesta because it stole something from it, but that would be like Daglin death powers. But why purr in Elain's presence?
What's pure inside of Elain? What does Elain mean?
Light.
And so my question now is there a drop of Silva's light in her? And the cauldron was like, that's my girl. Here's more.
Because we know so little about what Elain experienced in that cauldron. And we know so little of her powers.
I specifically say Silva's light because one, Silva's a witch. And two, because they use that light to kill the Valg. And so like I think that Elain was born with that in her.
Mm-hmm.
And then the cauldron just unlock. Because we know that SJM loves a good key. Word keys, everyone?
Truly. I have a lot of thoughts about Star Sword and Truth Teller together and it being a key, but yeah.
Silver Flame, baby. Silver Flame.
And Silver Flame, I'll wait. Shut my little whore mouth and I'll wait for that.
So I am always full of hot air. Let's talk about Black Wind. Not the transition that I wanted, but it is the one I got. What?
Okay, like hot wind.
It makes me sound gassy.
It does. I mean, we are jokes about Tamlin the Tutor, and then you're just calling yourself.
Wait, did we call him Tamlin the Tutor? I don't think so, but
I did. When you were like, I can't remember what you said about wind, and I was like, Tamlin the Tutor. You didn't hear me.
There's a lot of gas in this world.
Mm-hmm.
There are gas.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about it. I'm not gassy. I just really feel like I need to make that declaration.
Okay.
So when Feyre was holding onto the cauldron, this happened. Time seemed to slow and warp. The dark power of the king speared toward us, toward the clearing where I was neither seen nor heard, where I was nothing but a scrap of soul carried on a black wind. So in Throne of Glass, Rowan had a nightmare about Black Wind taking out a family that him and Elain created. A Morath messenger also unleashed a black wind when that was sent from Erewhon to Lysandra. And then Lorcan, who's homies with Hellas, the death god, sent a black wind multiple times. Valg Princess sent a black wind. Maeve used a shield of black wind. And in Crescent City, when Hunt and Bryce were fucking because he was territorial and they just got to the Ocean Queen's ship, they were having sex and winnowing while doing it. He was falling amid black wind and lightning and stars. And of course, that's when he came. But it's relevant because he is a Hellboy spawn. Now, back to the references in ACOTAR. Rhys snatched Feyre up on a black wind from Tamlin one day, and black wind is associated with Mor's winnowing. I think this black wind is definitely Valg adjacent. The king, Valg, Lorcan, Hellbaby, Maeve, Valg, Hunt, Hellbaby, Rhys, Hellbaby, Mor, Witch Baby. So I can see this family tree forming.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of black wind.
Case closed.
Quick note on Draken and Miriam. When we met Draken officially, he is told Jurian is a homie. The casual cocky grace of the prince vanished. Cold rage hardened his features into something terrifying, and his brown eyes, they went wholly black. And it's definitely giving Valg Asteri created, which Seraphim likely are. I think because we literally mentioned it earlier in this episode about winged beings being created, I think the Asteri Daglin made several. Because they, they love a good experiment till they get it right. Yeah. And they never did get it right.
No, and they just continue to not. So
they're not very good scientists. Like terrible.
No, they're like failing upward. Besides the whole parasite thing, they did a good job there. But like not doing great otherwise.
No. And any excuse to bring up Hottie Eris. We know that High Lords have power, but Eris is not a High Lord yet. When he showed up, it said to the war. It said, out of a rip in this world, Eris appeared atop our knoll, clad head to toe in silver armor, a red cape spilling from his shoulders. Rhys snarled a warning, too far in his power to bother controlling himself. How is a non-High Lord hottie just ripping the world? Like, I see you, Eris. Like, that's weird.
Yeah, because we know that, like, you start to see who's going to be High Lord when they're younger because they start getting more powers. So it's possible he has more powers, but a rip in the world feels significant.
That's a lot of fucking power. And how do you just like so casually do that as a High Lord's son? Because Baron's old as fuck and strong as fuck. Like, it almost feels like Baron doesn't have power because we rarely see it. It's almost like he's lying to all of us. And Eris is like the actual...
the puppet master behind it. Yeah, I think Baron is obviously going to die. Probably, but I'm going with book 7 maybe, or maybe end of 6.
Of old age or what?
No, he's going to get murdered.
Are they going to send him in a portal to nowhere and be like, I'm so sick of your shit. Let's clap these swords together and get you out.
Baron and Morvi would be best fucking friends, though.
Truly. That is the worst
blunt rotation. Yeah.
Include Mr. Hybern in there? Awful.
Not fun.
I want to talk about the death of Mr. Hybern. Like, what a beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm.
So the big event, when Mr. Hybern was killed, it says, Elain stepped out of a shadow behind him and rammed Truth Teller into the hilt of the back of the king's neck as she snarled in his ear, don't you touch my sister. I don't know. I just have to say that she had to have been possessed by a god because Elain's not that cool. So then the cauldron purred in Elain's presence as the king of Hybern slumped to his knees, clawing at the knife jutting through his throat. Elain backed away a step. Could the king not touch Truth Teller, like in the way that the haughty Thottim king could not touch the star sword? Like, why didn't he try to like grab it or do anything?
Yeah. Because he's Valgy.
Yeah, because remember,
yeah.
My favorite love, like, couldn't touch it. So why couldn't he just, like, he didn't even grab or claw at his throat or anything?
Which makes you wonder, like, only people that are worthy can maybe wield the Truth Teller. Why did as think Elain was.
Why did he know to give Elain this knife and that she would use it? Because nothing alludes to Elain being a fighter of any sort. Why the fuck was Elain ready with a knife to kill? Well, obviously his ass gave to her, but like, where did she get the balls?
Rhys says he's never given the sword, to anyone. So why Elain? But like we talked about earlier with Maeve kind of being able to foresee things, the Princes of Hell can kind of foresee things. Makes you question us.
Az is also a weirdo.
Total weirdo.
There's one detail we did not get upon the king's death, and that is his blood color. And I don't like that. Because you could have done anything, like could have showed his red blood, could have said like his blood mixed with dirt because they're on a battleground, like anything to give us like dark blood something. No reference to the color. So what color was his blood?
It was intentionally no color.
Pisses me off.
I know. Sarah likes to do that sometimes. Piss you off specifically.
Me, yeah, she has a vendetta against me.
Yeah. She's like that fucking Kylie. It's weird when I say your full name.
That was wild.
I didn't like it. Kind of gave me the ick.
It's like I couldn't even say your name normally. It has to be in a snotty tone. Like,
yeah,
we just don't do that.
So good old Amren, she gives us some more lore. She said there were humans in her world too. She watched them love and hate, but she wasn't allowed such things. She had not been designed that way, had not been ordered to do so. She says, I wonder if my capital F father knew. If he saw how I watched them love and hate and build and open that rip in the world, not as punishment, but as a gift. We have talked a lot about what she is, but just her saying father, capital F, she's talking about the void. She's talking about the void. Is she an Asteri? Asteri pet? A void pet? What is she?
How is Amren's story going to be written in the future? I think we'll get more from her because she's friends with Nesta.
Yeah, I think so too. Her story's not done just because she kind of gave up her old self. Like that lore is going to have to come back into place because she's going to know things. And we know from Crescent City that she knows things that no one else will know. And she's going to have to tell the truth. They tiptoe around Amren. They don't want to ask what she is. They don't want to and it's the same thing that what they do around Fury, which is weird. So really, the Fury being a spawn of Amren and Thanatos, who's to say?
Yeah, what a joke that I made, but could be possible.
It could be possible.
It is truly possible. It's not impossible because anything is possible, but it was a rogue thought.
And if that comes true, I'm gonna fucking laugh. So
because
hard.
Then you got to take some of the shit I say a little more seriously.
Maybe, yeah. Well, I do think that Fury is definitely a hellspawn.
Yeah.
Well, who's to say Amren's not our mama?
Thanatos exists in this world.
He does. We know he does.
Maybe her and Kier actually had a fucking wild romp, and Thanatos is her baby with Kier. And Fury is her grandbaby. Amren is fucking everyone until she found Varian.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like she's a secret hooer and no one knows.
Yes. I love that. Be a hoe.
And we always support hoes.
We love Amho.
And different area codes too.
Absolutely. And she was really going for the different area codes. She was like, hell.
Well, they even made fun of her once about you like that Illyrian. So she's had some Illyrian too. You know it.
I just really do want no more of her love story. Don't give me more. It's perfect as is. I want some history on her and that's it. I don't want more of her story.
Yeah, I'll take cute little varied moments here and there in the background, but I don't care.
Yeah, not, please don't bring her to the foreground.
Well, what if Varian ends up being bad?
I don't think so though. But that would suck.
Well, to be the one to betray Amren and Amren didn't sense it would be crazy.
She'd rip his throat out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about some post-war shenanigans. To honor Papa Archeron, they said the Fae prayer and then burned his body. Did you notice that in Throne of Glass, they used to burn bodies to be returned to the three-faced goddess and reborn within the womb? Not only is that a little witchy, but after Throne of Glass, the Fae stopped burning the bodies. It's almost like their custom changed because the Valk or Asteri learned about Second Light, so they stopped the practice.
Yeah, that's a good little catch. Interesting. I do think there's something different about Papa Archeron.
I'm telling you, male Kraken.
Okay. I brought it up during our Crescent City coverage, but the name Archeron is a derivative of the Greek word Acheron, which was a river that was the entrance into the underworld. Literally Hades River. So it's almost as if Sarah took Archer due to Feyre being a little huntress and Acheron and put it together. So when the Weaver said, "What are you?" to Feyre in the cabin, maybe it wasn't just because she's maid and has the High Lord powers, but maybe it's because she smelled something other about her. We have our thoughts about Mama Archeron, but I feel like Papa Archeron just knew too much. From the one meeting about the threat above the wall, he could tell the queens betrayed them. The very same queens that Az had a hard time getting intel about, Papa Archeron did. This human from one
Mix of
meeting.
merchants.
Yeah, also pretty fucking bold. You're just giving yourself your own nickname. I have thoughts about it,
Maybe
but
we should do it. Well, you are the High Lady of Lost Lake, so
I am. I just feel like Pops knew a lot. And even like with him not helping her mother, I think that was intentional. The word markings, he knows a lot more. Maybe it's because he's worldly and travels and sells, but no, it's weird.
maybe he was a former priest and Mama Archeron was a priestess
Maybe.
and they escaped.
I just feel like I had deja vu right now and it was very fucking weird, like overwhelming.
Dude, I have never suggested that he was a priest before.
No.
And
but it
never
was
Mama
like,
Archeron as a priestess, which wouldn't be the craziest thing if she was like a former priestess. How did they meet?
I don't know, but you got an ironwood bed for a wedding present.
Maybe she was a priestess.
Maybe.
They're weird. They're a weird fucking family. No notes.
Just weirdos.
A bunch of weirdos. Justice for Eris again. I want to bring Eris back up because
Shock.
Feyre is on to Eris and noticing that he's decent. As Eris strode by, I could have sworn there was something like sadness, like regret, as he glanced to Lucian. Like she's seeing the good in him. It's because she's
Yeah.
a witch and could see. She can sense
Yeah.
that he's a good boy.
Good boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even just her noticing that he seemed good during that High Lords meeting, I pointed out that he seemed to protect his mother. He's good.
I'm into Eris.
I know. He's a ginger.
He's
from the
not like a
Autumn Court.
ginger though. He's got like a different type of red hair. Don't lump him in the same category as my cat.
Okay, so he has auburn hair,
No.
like the Autumn King. Shocking. You like him. I actually really like Iris. I like Iris more than the Autumn King because,
He
well,
hasn't burned his kin, but you know, he's not an abusive father, which it's not great. I didn't love that about the Autumn King. Okay.
you just thought you could change him, maybe.
I do. I do think I can change him before he dies.
You still do.
I still do.
Okay. Maybe in a different realm, he'll reincarnate and you go get to change him.
And I'll be the fake queen I was born to be.
Yeah. The Dark Queen, probably, but yes.
Pitch. So what are our thoughts on Vassa? Speaking of queens, like I'm unclear of what I even think her role is. Is she like one of one? Was she another failed experiment? Like I don't have a full thought on Vassa.
I don't really either. I don't think we know enough about her. It's giving Thunderbird, but like Firebird.
Very like when we were reading Sky and Breath, my first thought was Vassa when we thought of the Thunderbirds, but like Vassa kind of gives Bryce energy because like she's got unbound reddish gold hair, dark thick lashes, brows framing the most stunning blue eyes, which Bryce doesn't have. Beautiful, her freckled skin glowing golden brown and gleaming, only a few years older than me, but young feeling, coltish, fierce and untamed despite her curse. It's very much Bryce-ish. Maybe Ember escaped that world, took a new name.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, you know what? Bryce is doing a lot over there. So I'm going to go over here.
Yeah.
Thanks. I don't know about Vassa either. I think obviously her story's not done. And just with Cachet, Crochet as in the astronomer potential, we'll hear a lot more about Vassa. But I don't, she's kind of
Weird.
I didn't want to say weird. I don't know if I find her fully likable yet.
Yeah,
Not
she's
that
demanding to
he-
Feyre right off the bat, curse breaker, like break my curse. Like she broke one
Yeah.
curse and that was by accident. Okay.
But do you think Feyre will break more curses? Or just the one?
Like what an
If she
epic
had,
name to break one curse.
and she has Elian's power.
Maybe she is the one to break Vass's curse because like Vass's story, like we said, is not done. And like there's got to be something with like Nesta and the 8-pointed star and Cochet and Vassa, like because Bryce literally told Nesta her story's not done.
Yeah.
Bryce said it. So Vassa and Nesta, they're gonna be Vesta.
Breasties.
There is the Vesta in Throne of Glass.
Oh, is that one of the 13? Yeah.
So Vassa Nesta or Vesta reincarnated into 2. There we go.
We are cracking theories and cases left and right.
You heard it here first. Breaking theory news. We're gonna close this out with Tamlin one last time. At
Yay.
the end, Feyre thinks about Tamlin after writing him a thank you note. So I wished him well. I truly did and hoped that one day, perhaps he would face those insidious fears, the destructive rage rotting away inside of him. First and foremost, the fact that she wrote him that letter fucking cracks me up. It is so dramatic.
She always likes a dramatic letter to him.
Yes. Why? You don't need to do it. She's doing too much.
Like, why?
Well, she's young. She thrives off the drama.
Oh, she's 21. No, she's about to be 21.
So she's still young.
We did a lot of dumb shit at 20.
We moved to Hawaii at 19, so really I cannot blame her for her poor choices.
Yeah, I mean, could you truly, we've said it before, but her aim away messages would have been over the
Amazing.
top.
Especially, yeah, with these letters that she loves to write.
Now she can write at least.
Thank God. She's having Alice write her away messages for her, and Alice is writing, Tamlin's the best. But in that thought, the use of the word rotting has my spidey senses tingling. Like, again, there's rot in the spring court and the autumn court, and that use is so strategic.
Yes. I fully on board. Something's rotten in the autumn court. Nope. Spring court and autumn court.
The Rodham court.
The Rodhams.
You know, missed fucking opportunity because I loved the Sodom King, but he kind of is the Rodham King.
Sodom King? More like Rodham King.
I've destroyed my own names.
Oh, we love a nickname.
Too much.
Bad problem. So, on that note, thanks for giggling through the Maasters with us. We have new episodes every Wednesday. Join us next week as we get into A Court of Frost and Starlight. And do not skip it. It's not a Christmas special. Theories.
We are... Now you don't even have to fucking read it. We will recap it and do all the details for you. So now they won't. Nobody will skip this episode because nobody wants to read this book. We did it for you. We did the work. So make sure you hit that follow button wherever you listen and then head over to our social media for all of our latest updates, theories, and more. New book Guffin.
Guffin.
All links are in our info, you giggling gal pals. We will see you next week.